tapped into the soft power frequency.
Coming to you live from the village in the sky, this is Soft Power Hour. Welcome, everyone, to the Church of Soft Power. My name is Siobhan, and I am one of the founding artists here, along with Midori, of this lay-led church for the spirits of creativity, connection, care, change, and choice. Soft Power Hour is our monthly live stream service gathering on the first Monday of the month here on Soft Power TV for an hour of connection with our community, our breaths, our bodies, and our spirits. Something about that intro today just felt brand new and refreshing. I don't know what it was. It felt like it was the first time I've seen it or heard it, so it just hit different on the spirit today. And maybe that's coming off a Sag full moon as a Sag rising. I see Dr. Kiki in the chat, which is exciting. And who is the artist, is why I'm shouting out Dr. Kiki, an ADV who created the theme song Midori on the visuals. And I don't know, are we reborn? I feel like I am a little bit am, but also I feel like that's like every single month. This touch point here kind of reminds me, it brings me back. It's part of this like revolution of observing how I shift each and every month, each and every moon cycle. And later tonight in this service, Midori will be giving us her astrological sermon, her planetary sermon. But without further ado, let's tap into the frequency. And first, I'm actually going to put up our rainbow of readiness, which is our self-assessment to decide for yourself if you're in a place to engage in collective care gatherings somatically, meaning through the body. This is part of our nervous system informed framework of soul sensitive care. And so, one, being on the underactivated end of the nervous system, maybe delayed response, feeling a little more shut down or slow motion today, which I think I started the day that way for sure. I've already moved through a few emotions today. And now I'm kind of sitting at a 3 centered. You don't need to be centered to participate. But if you're overactivated or underactivated, you might want to stick around for tonight's somatic practice because we have received a transmission from Soul Blume tonight that's going to support with bringing us into that more optimal zone. But also, if you feel like it's not the time for that, that's what this assessment is for. So, and I see Soul Bloom is in the chat too. Yay, as well as Merrick, as well as the Holy Haunted. So happy to see y'all. Oh, and Tall Asian Chick. Wow, love it. Okay, link up in the chat tonight. So if you're watching from your TV, sometimes I put it on my TV, but I also pull it up on my phone so I can like engage in the chat. And Vibcaster, okay. Love. And thank you for sharing where you're at. There is no hierarchy or, we say optimal for where functioning and growth can happen, but that doesn't mean that's a place that you need to be in community, because that's what we're here to do, is co-regulate. So I'm also going to pull up something I haven't in a while, and I'm glad Dr. Kiki is here because this came from her work as the voice doula. And tonight we're playing Choose Your Own Chakra. And so just take a look. If you don't know anything about the chakras, go with the color that speaks to you, go with whatever is calling to you tonight. And these consonants, syllables, what is the word I'm looking for? Yeah, CYOC, choose your own chakra. So pick your sound, the with the root, E at the top. And we are going to pick your syllable. Syllable's the word. Vowels, yes, thank you. Thank you, Professor. Maybe I'm at more of a 4. I think I'm a little more rapid paced tonight. I think I'm giving a 444. Pick your favorite or area of need tonight, and we are going to sing that tone 3 times. The first time, inviting you to join me, but of course, go with what calls to you, and we are going to harmonize our frequency. So I'm going to go today with the uh, that is the root, and taking a well, let's just exhale all the energy and extra stale air from the bottom of our lungs all the way down to the belly button before taking in a fresh breath and singing your syllable. Let it drag on, as Dr. Kiki taught me, taking in our next breath. Change it up or stay on the same one if you feel good in there. And our last breath together for this practice. Continue breathing after, please. I'm a little unhinged today. Okay. And we are now tapped into the soft power frequency. You know, the moon is still in Sag for another hour, so I feel the sacred clown archetype is just wedging its way in for our last moments here before we move into Capricorn. And I love that for us. So, before I go any further, I actually had one more little thing to mention to anybody who might be new to the church, maybe new to tuning into this show, and that is our operations goal for 2026. We're about 35%, I think, way toward our goal, which is to reach about $125 more of monthly contributions from the community. That covers our things like StreamYard to continue Soft Power TV programming, things like Zoom to continue our private gatherings, and all of the little tools and subscriptions that we require to keep the lights on. So if you visit this little link here, give butter /2026 operations, that will take you there, as well as if you pull out a smartphone and open your camera to this square with all those things called a QR code, if you're unfamiliar, that will take you to the same link. So consider becoming a supporter, and thank you. We'll share that again at the end. Oh, all right. Well, now that we are tapped in, we are here, we are queer. Happy Pride Month. Let's open with that. Of course, it's Pride Month, y'all. We have moved from Asian American Pacific, Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Month into Pride Month. So obviously, Midori and I are at peak potency of our powers as priestesses. Shout out all the other queer Asians in the house, as well as, everyone else included in those groups, but those are just ours, I feel like I'm just doing a stand-up act for Midori tonight. So, if you gained your powers last night, throw them in the chat. And I'm going to pull a card for us today from, it jumped right out, from Ashley Stinson's Energy Archaeology Oracle deck, and the card is activating, and that's associated with the right foot. So clearly, I'm activated today, and we're just gonna kind of do a little updates and share. Um, Activating, I don't know, that Sag full moon. We're also in the year of the fire horse. So I feel I have my ascendant is Sagittarius, so that is hitting me in my first house of like identity and is it the body too? Is first house body? Yeah, so I feel I was just telling Midori the things I've been integrating this year, and I forget who I learned this from, but to look at kind of like the last cycle since the Sag new moon in December, which is about 6 months ago. And I feel this activation um, of so much, but of I feel revitalized in purpose here as one of the co-founders of the church. I feel really activated in what we're doing here, and I feel like I've grown in an understanding of the like energetic function of being here at Church of Soft Power, which I've known and which we've talked about, but again, like every cycle kind of brings me closer to understanding. And I've really, really begun to understand and feel this. Yeah, what being here does for me. So yesterday, for example, we had a priestess call where Flo walked led us in some activities, which she's going to share with us next next soft power hour when Jupiter enters Leo, and I'm really excited for that. But I feel really activated since then, and yeah, also acknowledging that part of the activation was only made possible through a lot of listening and tending to my grief, a lot of um, moving things through the body. The movement practice today has to do with the lymphatic system and draining all the toxins, the things that are no longer supportive to my goals, and just the things that have ended their life cycle that are not even negative, just the things that were once nourishing that have remnants that have been ready to go. So I'm going to read here what Ashley Simpson has to say about the energy of the right foot. So the energy in the right foot is designed to flow and flow fast. It's a platform and vehicle for activating your energy in this world. As you move energetically with your life, the right foot is creating an imprint of your specific frequency. The invitation found through your right foot isn't only about moving forward, it's about metaphorically stepping into exactly what is aligned for you in this moment. Because of the speed of flow here, it's meant to be trusted inherently and intuitively. When your specific frequency is passing through these bones, it's ready to move you. Energetic misalignments can happen in these bones when you don't trust yourself to follow your embodied wisdom and guidance. So know that your movements in this lifetime, whether you roam far and wide or ground deeply in one place, are an effect of how your energy needs to activate in the physical plane. When you desire to travel, this is very Sagittarius of a message. When you desire to travel, to share, to move with many people in many places, whether physically, digitally, or energetically, you do so because the energy you're here to transmit needs to touch those lives and places. You are like a windblown seed, spreading far and wide, sometimes never knowing the impact you have. When you root deeply in one place, trust the effect you're having with those closest to you and in the environment in which you're now settled. The energy you activate and transmit in this single place or with these few people is enough to change everything. Like the acorn that lands and grows in a barren field changes its environment over time, so do you. The energy you're activating is directly tied to your innate wisdom and desires. Trust them and trust yourself. Move when you're inspired to move and grow deeper when you're called to rest. Mm, love that. That feels super Sagittarian. It reminds me of a reading I had with Ari Felix, who told me as a Sag rising person that my pretty much my life like is about following my intuition and letting other people see it. And so that really just hits on what I was feeling in terms of what I was kind of trying to communicate with this activation around the church of just feeling like this impact of what we do here, just the number of us gathered here on one stream really ripples out into the world. And I've noticed that with this touch point every month, the way that I'm able to show up elsewhere through what this, and I even see like the heart kind of ripples in the background are really speaking to me right now because it just feels like that. Like that's like a footprint, and I see the vibration radiate, whether it's big or small, trusting that if I'm called to take a step, that there's going to be an impact regardless of how far or wide. So, Midori, how are you doing? I've been talking so much so far. So, curious how you've been activated lately or what you've been activating. Yeah, I know there's some things when it comes to just new ventures. But yeah, what do you want to share with the community today?
Mm, thanks, Bonnie. Oh my God, it's just wild being on this stream with you every month because so many synchronicities of my experience that are just like so. Even one of them was like right foot. I just put a copper toe ring on my right big toe. So it was just things like that, which is very like there's a 12th house experience of just like drawing all of these meaning making and pattern recognition. But I have a Sagittarius on my eighth house cusp. And so a lot has been, but technically the full moon was in my 7th house of relationships, one-on-one relationships. And I do feel, and business relationships as well. And I do feel like there has been so much healing, conversations and decisions around what it means to build my life now and to have a direction and coordinates of where I'm going and to have a vision and know when to stay flexible and when to really hold the vision down when I know my body is trying to like keep me somewhere safe. For example, I realized that after college, I have not stayed in the same place. Like I have moved every year and a half since college when I left for college. Like a year and a half was the max amount of time I've ever stayed anywhere, like lived in one place. And there's times where I only lived somewhere for a couple months. And so this, like that restlessness, that feeling of restlessness, I think is something that kind of is always going to be there. And I think there's something to be said as a Taurus rising person of, yeah, how do I root somewhere? How do I build home somewhere? How do I commit and see responsibility as something that's actually very generative and that doesn't close in on me and trap me, but rather expands my capacity to feel free because I'm actually like tethered to things I'm committing to, like consciously committing to. So that's been a lot of the themes, and also just a lot of whimsy and play because which I'll talk a little bit more on, but because the full moon was opposite, obviously, the sun in Gemini, there's a lot around like my desire for a lot more play, a lot more fun, a lot more lightness, not only personally, but also in my work. And so I'm really excited to announce I started to explore photography again. I facilitated a photography ceremony for Siobhan's matriarch's day that she had at her home sanctuary. And I photographed a lot of her friends, clients that she's known for many years. And I felt like that was such a like marker of me returning back to photography after many years. The last time I think that I had taken like photos was probably, it's been a few years. And I think I had a lot of resistance to that, but it was so much fun. And also I'm excited to like explore other forms of creative expression that are also more like material. So I've been printing a lot of my photos, exploring what that feels like to actually like have like hold something. And also started doing aura photography. So that's going to be a new venture. Doing some events in Oakland. Oh my God. Yeah, this is a photo that I took of Siobhan and her mother, matriarch, on the day before Mother's Day. So analog portal, analog arts. I just love, I think that's my Mars in Cancer too, is like, I just love photographing people when they feel comfortable and when they feel most like regulated. I've always like had a photography practice that was centered around making people feel comfortable in front of the camera, because that's been such a really big wound in my journey of visibility, is like my relationship to my body and being perceived. So that is kind of where I'm at. I think like my Venus in Gemini loves a lot of different types of creative expression, and sometimes I don't think I allow myself to go there because I think that I'll get overwhelmed, and I'm just kind of practicing being led when the invitation comes. And I'm just thanking Siobhan because she gave me the invitation. And it really was like the perfect setting to activate my photography practice again. And I'm so excited to continue. If anybody in the Bay Area is looking for a ceremonial photographer or to hold you through that process of being witnessed in front of the camera, I think I'm going to have more opportunities to share soon. So yeah, that's what I would say. Oh yeah, and these are some more. Siobhan, my gosh, I love you. These are some photos. So Siobhan has helped me brand this a little bit. We're calling it Aura Alchemy, and this is a different system than the old school like 60s, 70s proprietary system that was developed, because that has been discontinued. Sam of Vibecaster gave me a little bit of like the history of that too, and I've been doing some research, but this is a brand new system that's being developed by someone that I came into contact with. And it's been so interesting because my work has always been historically very deep and like intense and transformative, and it has this very like serious nature to it. And I feel like this is my foray into something that's like light and fun and like whimsy. We're calling in whimsy. I'm calling in whimsy on this full moon. And then I think that's why I'm always tight with all these people with Sag placements, because Siobhan, like as you could see, sacred jester over here, we're always just, chit chatting, making little jokes. And yeah, it's like having a stand-up comedian every single day. Being in a relationship with Siobhan, she's always got a joke. She's always cracking a joke. And I'm welcoming in laughter, play. I just went and saw Flo in LA last week, and we had so much fun. And we have been historically sad girls in our healing journey and gone through so much change and transformation together, lots of crying. Now we're really able to enjoy ourselves. We went out on the town, and that depth is still there, but there's like a lightness that I'm really welcoming in this season. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing, and just like being visible in your journey too. I think that's one of my favorite parts about streaming together is like we've been documenting our journey on live streams and like, with 75 different show names over like 4 years, I think. So it's just really cool, I think, to experience the ways that you're transforming and also returning. So, speaking of whimsy maxing, we have a transmission from, well, I don't want to get the alter ego wrong. I was gonna say the fairy goddess, but this is Soul Bloom. This is something a little different. And for today's somatic segment, we actually have an exclusive premiere movement practice that has not been dropped anywhere before from our fairy priestess Flo, aka Soul Bloom. This will be a seated practice, so if you're seated, great. And if you don't feel called to join in, just inviting you to take the next 10 minutes to listen to and honor your body's needs, whatever they might be. So here we go. 9-minute energy reset with Soul Bloom.
Gently massage yourself starting at the neck. Loving touch induces oxytocin, also known as the connection hormone. You can lower your gaze, close your eyes if that feels safe, and start to massage your scalp. This promotes blood circulation and reduces stress. You can also vocalize your breath to stimulate the vagus nerve and slowly open your jaw to reduce tension in the jaw muscle and joint. Massage the ears. There are many acupressure points here. Making sounds and humming and singing directly activates the vagus nerve and promotes relaxation and calms the nervous system. Exfoliate and release tension, help your body relax. Massage the muscles in your face, cheeks, jaws. Massage down the neck to the clavicles to support lymphatic drainage and stay connected with your breath. Let's start our tapping portion. Hands across your chest and lightly tap your shoulders, opening the lung meridians. Stimulate blood circulation, support lymphatic drainage. Feel and let go of sadness and grief. The lung meridian is connected to the heart and the emotion of grief. Stay connected with your breath. Exhale out the mouth. Increase presence, self-compassion, and energy flow. Let's transition to tapping at the center and across your chest, heart, and clavicles. Vocalize your breath and release any stress and stuck emotions. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's transition to tap under each armpit and stimulate lymphatic drainage in the armpit lymph nodes. Our body contains these small pockets called lymph nodes that's part of the lymphatic and immune system to filter out waste, toxins, bacteria, and viruses. When the lymph is not moving, you can feel inflamed, sluggish, heavy, and even emotionally stuck. Switch sides. The lymphatic system is responsible for removing waste and excess fluids, so daily exercises like qigong, tapping, walking, self-massages, intentional movement helps drain lymphatic fluids and clear stagnation. Movement improves circulation, flushes out waste, increases blood, oxygen, and energy flow, and your vitality. Okay, let's transition to looking left to right. Release tension in the neck, shake your head no, and move at your own pace. Let's transition to seated cat-cows. Inhale to look up towards the sky, open the spine, chest, shoulders, and throat. Exhale to round, invite fluid motion. Sync your breath to movement. Release spinal fluid and tension in the spinal nerves and joints. The spine loves fluid, flowy, and intuitive motion. Inhale to expand and exhale to contract and let go. Invite in your intentions, exhale and release what no longer serves you. 2 more sets. Last set here. Let's move on. Transition to 30 seconds of free-form fluid spinal movement. Give yourself permission to explore, express, and move freely. Stay connected with your breath. Release stress, tension, and stagnation in every breath out. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's transition to rotating the wrists and ankles in one direction. You can alternate and switch direction when you're ready. Stay connected with your breath. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's reverse the forearms and wrists. Stretch and breathe into your forearms and wrists. You can hum to regulate your nerves and feel more calm and grounded. Let's move on to assisted spinal mobility. You can use your chair, bed, or table for support. Just move your hips and spine freely, inviting that fluid, intuitive motion to your body and spine, inviting rotation, circles, cat-cows, rocks and sways. All of this spinal movement helps release spinal fluid and tension in the nerves and nervous system, which increases energy levels and vitality, helping you feel more alive and awake naturally. Let's rise to standing hip circles 15 times on each side. Move at your own pace. Get some movement and blood circulation to the lower back and hips. And switch sides whenever you're ready. Moving that chi, moving that energy. Slowly dive into a standing forward fold and lightly bounce up and down. Forward folds stimulate the spinal nerves, creates space between the vertebrae, and lengthens the spine, which all supports the nervous system to reduce stress and anxiety. This posture and bouncing motion activates the parasympathetic nervous system, aka the rest and digest system, to promote relaxation and calm. Slowly rise, seated torso, goddess pose. Just twisting your torso from left to right, side to side. Seated cat cows. Exhale, side out. Great job. Hope you feel more relaxed, alive, energized. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for watching.
Oh, that was so needed. Thank you, Flo. And I'm going to drop in the chat here how you can stay connected with Flo. Give her a follow on Instagram, subscribe to her YouTube page, and check out her merch shop for really fly, cute gear. My favorite is the Ancestor Sugar Babies, of course, and I think she's got another drop coming soon. All right, I think it's time for our astrological weather report.
Please hold while I put, y'all, I'm sad. I lost my Lizzie McGuire, Mimi McGuire hat. So we're wearing the cowboy hat today. And I am your astral weather report news anchor for the day. Today we're joining Monday, June 1st, 2026. And as y'all know, and I have said before, I am not the most technical astrologer, but what I feel like I'm here to channel some messages. And so the main transit that felt very important to highlight, of course, was the full moon in Sagittarius. I feel like a lot of people in our community have major Sagittarius placements. And if you don't, everybody has that in their chart. So it doesn't matter if you don't have a planet there natally. But what I wanted to open with is from a excerpt from one of the key books that I read when I was doing my astrology mentorship back in 2020. And it's The Inner Sky. It's an excerpt from The Inner Sky by Stephen Forrest. He's kind of like an OG astrologer, philosopher. And so this is his take on Sagittarius as a symbol. So as you know, the glyph, some of you may know that the glyph is an arrow. So yeah, it says, not the archer, but the arrow, fingers quivering with tension. The marksman releases the taut string. The curve of the bow snaps back, sending the feathered shaft darting into space. The arrow, it flies faster than sight, whipping through the air, speeding toward the clouds. If it had eyes, it would see the archer's form grow tiny, fading to an insignificant speck in the landscape. And it would see that landscape laid out like a map, simple and schematic. If that arrow were suddenly given a mind, what thoughts would occupy it? Like a man on a mountain peak, it would think thoughts of perspective and experience, driven by exuberance. Who fired me into this luminous sky, and for what purpose? What is my place here? Where am I going? And what is the reason for my existence? So I feel like that is just like a very perfect, I think, kind of poetic intro to what this full moon, this lunation, has the questions that have been posed for us at this moment. And so many of you know that the Sag full moon happened at 1:45 a.m. May 31st, and which means that the sky is sitting at full opposition from the sun in Gemini. So the moon is sitting across from the sun. And so there's this, the sun is illuminating the moon, obviously, like literally in the sky, you can see that it's like a bright ball of light. And there's a max tension between the two signs that are fundamentally like arguing about the same thing from opposite ends. And so that's kind of what I think of when I think of full moons, is there's just like this, and oppositions in general is like they're kind of arguing at each other, and you're kind of like vacillating from one point to the other. Versus squares, if y'all have some fundamental astrology knowledge, there's like a pressure that causes action. This is more of a like seesaw energy. There's like this back and forth. So Gemini like collects information, it's mutable air, and Sagittarius seeks meaning from what was collected. So Gemini, that's why there's always like a very great synastry between Gemini energy and Sagittarius energy. I have a Venus in Gemini that sits at Siobhan's descendant in Sagittarius. So I feel like I always have a lot of questions. Like when we hang out, I notice that I'm asking a lot of questions. I'm usually like so curious, like, and I feel like she's just such a great storyteller. And like, there's this kind of really divine balance because I just love to ask questions. That's my juice, you know? And so in relationship to one another, they're a really great pair because one is asking the questions and the other is this like has a very philosophical end. And they both have a very philosophical core to it. Like the reason why Gemini is asking the questions is because they're curious about the core of existence. But Sagittarius, I think, is really interested in having their arrow pointed in one direction. So Gemini is asking what, and Sagittarius is asking why. And at this full moon, these two are not only cooperating, but they're like pulling at each other. And so there's something very specific about what Sag illuminates in Gemini season. So this full moon is really about what you may have been avoiding is like kind of coming to the light, and like what there may be some like revelations in what feels out of alignment or what you may be avoiding. And so Gemini likes to move very fast, likes to keep a lot of their options open, staying curious, sometimes at the cost of like not wanting to go deep. That's mutable air. So if you think, I always think of like you're driving on the freeway and there's like all the windows are open and there's just like wind blowing in through the car and your hair is whipping around and you don't really have maybe a specific destination. You're just like having fun and going wherever the wind takes you. And the Sagittarius full moon is more about bringing like, what do you actually believe to the table? And these are very different questions. Gemini is very with the wind, and Sagittarius is like, I want to know. But also Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign, so there is like this willingness to go on adventures, but if it's not going to just do that necessarily if it already knows that it's had those experiences and they're not in alignment with what they want to out of their life or what their philosophical view is. So yeah, the full moon occurs when the sun and moon are in direct opposition, like I said, and that means that the sun illuminates the moon's entire face. So I always just like to root us in that. It's like the sun's rays are literally hitting this moon, this body that symbolizes in traditional astrology of like our emotions, of what is who are you like in the like at night, and like when you're caring for your body and when you go to relax, and what is that tension, I think is really interesting. And usually with full moons, it's like this is like a moment of culmination, like the moon is like growing in light. And so at this full moon point, the moon is at this point where it's in full brightness. And so just offering that as so there may be like hidden emotions or like truths or things that might be brought into sharp focus in this period of time, especially since the moon is still in Sag. So we're still feeling that energy right now. I'm just looking at the chat. Let's see. Does it feel like you're shooting arrows in the dark? Okay. Pluto and Sag in the 12th house. Yeah, and it depends where Sagittarius lays in your chart. So in the 12th house, you know, if the full moon is illuminating, it's like quite literally, it's illuminating maybe things that you have not had access to that have been. I always describe the 12th house experience for the Holy Haunted. I'm zoning in on this because I always associate that. And I think B.A. Nathaniel was the one who said it's like you're moving in the dark and my sun is there. So it feels like I'm constantly like a bright light in like a pitch black room. And I'm kind of like trying to navigate, and I can like feel the direction I'm supposed to go, but I can't see it until I get there and it comes up. So it's very related to intuition, probably, to subconscious things that you haven't been able to access. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, like it really comes to light in that moment. And that's what's really cool about astrology, is because you can track that in a very like quite literally, like you can see that happening and track that on a timeline. So yeah, I'm so curious for y'all to share more about, vivid dreams in the 12th house, your full moon in the 12th house. That would definitely be a signature of that as well. And I know Merrick shared they have a stellium in Sagittarius. So yeah, I'm curious. I know Siobhan, you had said that this was a big time for you. Also would like to mention, and Siobhan said as well that before this call, is that we have Venus, Jupiter, and Mercury. Mercury just transited into Cancer. So there is a very like lunar quality to lunar being receptive, more yin, more watery, cardinal water. So there's this like more emotional, I would say, state flavor to the current astrology. And it's a really good time to journal, to rest. I feel like I say that every time because I'm a Taurus rising. Like, everybody rest. But I really do feel like this is a great period, especially June. Because y'all, once Jupiter moves into Leo, like, it's kind of like a light switch. Like, Jupiter in Cancer is exalted. So the moon is the full moon happened in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is in Cancer. Jupiter in Cancer is an exalted expression of Jupiter. And so Jupiter in Cancer is kind of like buffering. I feel like it's buffering a lot of giving us a little bit of luck. It's giving us a little bit of like buffering us from the repercussions, I feel like, of also the administration, what's happening on a world scale right now with politically. And so I think when Jupiter moves into Leo, like there's going to be a lot more of that. And then a lot is going to be shifting to air. So air, I think air and fire, elementally, that kind of expands the fire. So we're going to feel that shift a lot. And so this is a really good time also while Mars is still in Taurus, is to still kind of like calibrate, set like, okay, what's the vision here of what are the decisions that we're making now to set us up because Jupiter in Leo is also going to be, I think, fun. There's a more of a focus on self, more of a focus on being a star, being a superstar. That is the vibe of Jupiter in Leo. So if you need to take the time to really take care of yourself this month, even though we're like in summer, just know that that's very supportive in the astrology right now. And that's going to shift once July comes around. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that planetary sermon, partner. And feeling called to just guide us in a few minutes of letting that sink in and allowing those actions or things that are surfacing that Midori was talking about to really rise up into our attention. I think actually the moon just moved into Capricorn like 2 minutes ago, so that was the perfect closer to the Sag moon. Thank you. And now let's just support some of that, just like integration and dropping into our bodies and dropping into our awareness for what actions are needed. Of course, emphasizing rest. That is usually the first action needed. And this will be a little rest moment. So let's do it. I'm going to play some ocean waves. Oh, actually, we got some sounds. Play the fire. So just inviting you to take a few minutes. Gently close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Bringing your attention to the sound of the breath. And either out loud or in your heart, consenting, if you do, to a little energetic support from me and my guiding spirits, along with your benevolent guides who have surrounded us in a circle of love and presence. As your body connects to the earth, exhaling everything that doesn't belong to you, even messages that may not be relevant for your unique journey, allowing what is really meant for you to hear to surface. If coming to presence or stillness doesn't feel accessible right now, you can swipe additional energy off your body or wiggle, just imagining all of your movements, including your humming or vocalizing, and those vibrations, just sending everything out of your field as you clear this bubble around you, this force field. And every exhale pushes everything that belongs to all other sources out of this bubble. As you feel more lightness, more clarity, returning to the space around you, hearing the sounds of the fire crackling, gently burning anything you send to it that's ready to go and be freed, be that your fears, your hesitations, and especially tonight, any doubts in your own ability to access your inner wisdom and hear the guidance of your own soul, your most well ancestors or deities that you work with. As now your breath expands this bubble, taking up as much space as you could ever need to fully exhale into your most expansive, abundant self, knowing that in this bubble you have everything you need to be guided to the people, the resources, the support and love that you require for your calling here in this lifetime at this moment. Noticing what might be popping into your mind, be that a event that you saw or a digital resource that you came across, knowing that all of these energies that walk with you hold the sincere intention of guiding you to all that you need to fulfill your purpose, which first and foremost is to be you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for all of the choices that you've made to honor the you that you are when you are in this sovereign space. Acknowledging the obstacles, the infiltrators, anything that has tried to interfere with your mission to be you. And in this space, seeing the clarity of what power those things really have over you and what are illusions that can be cleared away with your exhale as your aligned actions reveal themselves. Sealing this in, calling all of your energy back to you. May this bubble stay intact for as long as you choose it to be, and if you forget and it doesn't and other things get in, know that you can always return to your sovereign frequency. Know that you can always return here to Church of Soft Power in a live space, in a replay, to access and have that support to access this space, and know that we love you genuinely and we wish for your continued liberation, your continued resourcing, your continued acknowledgement of the divine being that you are, with such a power to create your world, to create your daily experience, even if you can't control the world around you. And that every choice that you make to exist in your liberated, sovereign self has ripples in your lineage, in your blood, in your communities, on the land. To all of us here, the ways that each one of you that have engaged in the chat have impacted Midori and I, and Kiki and Flo, and everyone else that has been part of this, whether they're present here or venturing in other dimensions. Thank you for being our sanctuary and co-creating this sanctuary with us. And for the last minute, speaking here, as you know, your souls are listening, your most wise and lit ancestors are listening, speaking out your wishes, your requests for what you need to take the next step on your path. Know that you are heard. Know that you are loved. Thank you. And I will pass it to Midori to share all of the fun we have going on this month and close our circle for the evening. And if you feel like sharing your messages, your wishes in the energy bank, please continue on and listen up for these really fun opportunities to gather and play this month.
Thank you, Bonnie. Okay, I gotta put my hat on again. Hello, I'm back, and we have a very, very sweet June coming up. Happy Pride, everybody. Shout out to all the queers out there. You are, yeah, I just love being queer. And I'm so excited to celebrate this month with y'all. So we have a very exciting live stream, Hues and Cues with a Vibe Caster, coming up tomorrow at 5 p.m. If you would like to join the game, that's an option, and that's on our website. You're going to sign up, and we'll send you the link to participate, actually, like in the live stream and the game live. If you would like to just watch, it's going to be here on Soft Power TV. I'm going to read the description because it was so, Sam really crafted that well. It says, calling all dramatic prismatics. It's time to show off your colors, baby. We're reigning in Pride Month in style. Join our professional vibecaster, Sam, for a vibrant game of Hues and Cues. Hues and Cues is a relaxed digital board game where a player is given a secret color and has to describe it using a single word clue. You don't have to have prior experience with the game in order to play, just an infatuation with saturation and maybe an inventive vocabulary. Oh, and be sure to wear your favorite color. We're streaming our game on Soft Power TV. It says, see you on the spectrum. We love the creative writing. Sam's the marketing genius here in our community. So highly advise y'all to join in, whether or not you're a viewer or join us with, to participate. And then we got co-working that's happening every Wednesday. It's a nonverbal space. It's very cute. Everybody gets a lot done. At least I do. I know I do. Only 2 spots left to play on the stream tomorrow for Hues and Cues, FYI. So if you want to join, RSVP now. Then we got Soul Spa. Soul Spa's back. We did not have it last month, and Siobhan is doing it this month. This is the astral spa for an intuitively guided rest experience designed to ground, refresh, and protect your energetic body. This gathering includes a soul-sensitive trance journey and space to reflect and connect with our spirits. It is such a cotton candy space of, I don't know, cancerian care, I would say. So if you need a little holding, Siobhan spaces are always so nourishing. So that's going to be on Monday, June 8th at 5:30. Then we have Balkan Trance Dance with Merrick Syzygy, and this is a find an ancient rhythm and tap into ancestral magic with Balkan Trance Dance, where we'll dance the Kolo and alchemical community. Bring your desires and intentions, and we'll raise them in our energy in the virtual circle together. For this session, we'll be learning a simple dance with basic footwork. It's very fun, and I love how Merrick brings in their cultural practices to the space. And they're also, like we said, they have a stellium in Sagittarius, so they always give so much context to the practice and the history, and I always feel like I learn so much from their spaces. So pull up to that one if you're interested. And then we have a series of lunar riding circles on the new and full moon. So the 14th is the new moon in Gemini with B. Nathaniel. And then we have the full moon in Capricorn riding circle on the 29th. And that is like a very, like, I would say, like, very signature space. It's been going for a long time. And I know a lot of people gather. I think it's just such a great way to process the lunar cycles. So go over there and RSVP to that. We have Back to Breath on June 16th with Merrick as well, which is a breathwork space and nervous system regulation space. Very relaxing, pretty nonverbal, and there's space to share at the end, but it's a very like grounding practice space. On the 16th, we have Care Creator Circle. Siobhan, do you have an idea of what you want to do there? Do you want to share what's going to be happening on the 18th?
Yeah, last time, so Care Creator Circle, if you haven't been, is our space for care workers, doulas, service providers, and the intention is to develop our practices for space holding loosely based on what we call soul sensitive care here at Soft Power. And so the last gathering, we did a group think tank and on all the considerations for holding virtual space. So things like the intake forms, the pre-session process, the follow-up, all the considerations when you're in a session on how to be mindful of your receiver's nervous system, trauma-informed care, if you're familiar with that. And so we're going to continue on that, and I think we'll get more into the specific questions if you were there last time, and the replay is on the Discord channel for care creators. The invitation is for y'all to put together your flow for how you want to run either a group session or a private one-on-one session, and bring your questions to the group so we can give specific feedback. There's been really, really amazing insight exchanged in this space in terms of people sharing from all different neurotypes and modalities. So this is meant to be a very active space to really put our theory into practice, aka praxis, and that's what we'll continue doing this month. So bring specific questions and we'll dive into any curiosities you might have for improving or enhancing your own personal practice or sharing your gifts for the first time.
I gained so much from that event. As someone who's been holding space for like 6 years or something, I highly advise y'all to. It's like such a great value, y'all, for this space to be free. So I just shout out to Siobhan because the pure space, the pure what do they call it? Dialogue is so invaluable to just be able to think tank with other people who have similar values and are here to step out and share their gifts. So yeah, please join. Okay, the 23rd, we have our alchemy activation, which is my space, creative expressive arts, rest practice. Everyone that pulled up is very just so creative, so sweet, and it's a really great place to also titrate being seen, to get in the habit of sharing your art and creating from a space of flow and not censoring yourself. So if you're interested in that, come through on the 23rd. And then we have the Village Member Social, which happens every last Monday of the month, and that's a space for members only. So if you've attended at least one of our virtual spaces and have not, you can apply to our membership. It's free to join. All you got to do is just fill out a short application, and we send out, you get access to our Discord, our Village in the Sky Discord, as well as email notifications for all the events that go out. Shout out to Siobhan for all that work of always making sure those notifications happen, because I know that's that's a task, and that's a labor of love. So that closes. What did you say?
I've got one more thing to say and share, and it's related to care creators. If that interested you, but sharing in a group setting is not something that you desire, or you have way more than just one question, we are offering Midori and I one-on-one spaces to members, and I'm going to drop the link in the chat to book. And this is a place to get that same type of mentorship with either Midori or myself. And this is also an effort to raise money for the church. So they are sliding scale, $22 to $88. if that lower end of the scale is still out of reach and you would like to maybe do a little volunteering for the church with some tasks, then reach out to me and we can set that up and be an exchange. But really, the goal is to give y'all as much support as you can so you can be out in the world confidently sharing your gifts. And so my expertise is in the doula care work. And Midori has a lot of professional expertise in marketing and branding. So just creative ideas. And if you want us to give you feedback on an event or a piece of thing that you could share that maybe won't take too much time, or we were already there, we really have created this path so that people can consent and invite in the same type of feedback that we have been giving each other, Flo and Kiki, Willa, over the last years. Anybody who's really shared within, that's how we've grown, is by being in consensual processes of feedback and peer mentorship. So if that speaks to you, that's open to all members. And if you're like, I really just want mentorship from y'all, but I'm not a member, then come to one of these events and you can then become a member for free and access this. So that was my last piece. And now my child has just walked in the door. So Midori will close us out.
You can close us out. Thank you so much for the, oh, okay. All right. We're going to do, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for your time and to feel the energy of us gathering virtually is, hi, Reese. You're on live stream. Let's close this out this with a little prayer that I wrote before I came on a few minutes before we went live. So just inviting you to join me and tap into your body and your breath in this moment. Calling back your energy, feeling the presence of your body sitting on the earth. May we stay connected to the sanctuary of our bodies, our home, the earth, and our creative spirits, uplifted by the support of our well ancestors, deepening in trust when we know we need to walk alone and when we need connection and collaboration. Knowing we are never really alone, always in communion with the world around us. May we be resourced in the soft power frequency, the frequency of creation, and honoring the deaths and transformation that occur in the process. May we learn to love and know ourselves deeply, stay open and curious to learning, and know when to stand 10 toes down on our truth. May all beings be free to experience joy and play and laughter. And may we allow the vulnerability of our tears and grief to be an offering. May the vision of our shared liberation unfold with the flow and harmony of the universe. And may this church of soft power and village in the sky continue to be a sanctuary and oasis to all those who are called. And so it is. Make it so. Manifesto. All right. And as our transitionary activity, pose for the ancestors. Thank you so much.